Welcome or welcome back, and happy Thanksgiving to those of you who are here in the United States. I know this is a holiday when many people like to spend with their families, so I want to really wish you a good time with your family. Be kind to each other, give each other lots of hugs and tolerance and ability to be with each other without falling into the strife and polarization that unfortunately is too prominent right now in our culture. Really enjoy being together. And we have a new transit that starts today, and the sun and the earth have a major shift in the quality of energy that we're going to be experiencing. So let's go ahead and dive in. So today on the 28th, the sun is going to move into the gate 9 and the earth is going to move into the gate 16. Now, the first thing I want to say is both of these gates are in the logic circuit or the pattern circuit. And this circuitry starts in the left brain and it crosses over, comes down through the right-hand side of the body, and then it comes back up through the central channel, but it does this little jog down there in the root. And so it might look like it's in the wrong place, but it really is part of the logic circuit, even though it's on the left-hand side of the body, that 9. So let's talk a little bit about this logic circuit, because we don't actually have it come up all that much. It is a mirror of the sensing circuit. These are the two collective circuits, and we tend to be very conditioned in our left brain and in our logic circuit, because in Western culture, which has been really influenced by Western science, we tend to privilege and decide that what is logical, rational, reasonable is what is valid. And even to go so far as things that cannot be understood with those qualities of intelligence, they don't exist, or they're not important, or they're inaccurate, or they're invalid, right? There is a tendency to go in that direction, which is really not helpful, because we have a lot of other intelligences. We have our right brain intelligence, which is creative. And we have our intuition, which we see in the knowing circuit. So we want to balance all of these out, but we tend to be overly conditioned in our left brains, because this is where we have this power of analysis, right? We have the power of analysis. We have the power of strategy and planning, mapping things out. It's also known as the pattern circuit. So it's being able to identify patterns and see when things are out of alignment. How do we get them back into alignment? We've had the nodes in the gate 18 for a long time, and the 18 is all about bringing order back to patterns. It's called the gate of correction, but it's also known as order realignment. And so here we have the sun lighting up the gate 9, which is the gate of focus or the gate of convergence. And then we have the earth lighting up the gate 16, which is known as Zest. I love that. We're going to dive into that in a second. Okay, let's take a look at the 9 here, because we also have a new moon that's going to be in the gate 9 as well, coming up on Saturday here on the West Coast of the United States, and then it'll be on early Sunday morning, or on Sunday morning for people who are east of here. So let's talk about the gate 9. The 9 is all about perspective, and in particular about focus. And I think it's super interesting, because the left brain is focal energy. The left brain helps us to focus. It's linear, right? And it looks and it focuses, whereas the right brain is expansive and goes into peripheral gaze, whereas the left brain goes into focal gaze. And focal gaze is great in the sense that it helps to bring things into focus. We tend to be a little overdeveloped in that area now, because we're on devices so much. And so we're focusing, really not very far away, and we're focusing on that. And sometimes we can be doing that for many hours during the course of the day. So focal gaze is great, but we don't want to get locked into it, right? We don't want to get locked into it because it can become myopic, right? We lose perspective. We lose context. We stop kind of knowing what else is happening, and we're just paying attention to what we're focusing on. So it's great in certain situations, and we want to be able to bring focus to things that we're working on, that we're playing with, where we want things to come really clear to us, right? Because that's one of the things that focal gaze gives us. You know, we are predatory animals, so we have two eyes on the same side of our face, which gives us that ability to really focus. Of course, the eagle is always kind of the poster child for focus, because eagles can see like up to a mile away with those eyes that they have, their ability to focus, right? Whereas prey animals have their eyes on the side of their head. Like if you look at a sheep or a deer or even a cow, they tend to be much more on the side of their head so that they can see what's going around, right? So there is this ability that we get depth of field. We can see far away when we have two eyes coming and converging. It's also called convergence. So this is an energy that you want to use when you're trying to get really up and close on something and to have a clear view of it, a clear vision of it when things are coming together. It is really good, even with this 9, to also be able to expand and come in, and expand and can come in. I think this is one reason we have convergence, right? Because focal isn't just like one thing. It's like things are coming together. They're converging, and we're able to see the way that they converge. So what's converging? That's part of the question, right? What is coming together that now we can see when we focus in this way? So the new moon is in the gate of convergence. It's in this gate of focus. And so it's inviting us to be thinking about what is it that we want to, with this incredible focus that we have, what seeds are we going to be planting? Now, this new moon is also in the sign of Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is a powerful fire sign in astrology. And it is the ruling planet is Jupiter, and Jupiter, good old Jupiter, is still lighting up the gate 45 right through the first few days of December. And so Jupiter is still here with leadership. And so leadership is a quality that's here also with the Sagittarian new moon. And so when you're focusing in on your life, when you're focusing in on your goals, when you're focusing in on what you're going to do next, right? One question is what's your relationship to leadership at that point? Because Jupiter is going to be there and is going to say, are you in alignment with the kind of benevolent sovereign energy of the gate 45, or are you falling into dictatorship and authoritarianism, which is more of the shadow, the power over, which unfortunately we're seeing pretty strong in our world right now. And so Jupiter is expanding that. So you have an opportunity to expand your version of leadership. This is tribal leadership because it's the ultimate leadership in the tribal circuit. And so what is your relationship to that? And how are you bringing fire to it now on this new moon? And what seeds are you going to be planting for yourself? What's your intention that you're going to be unfolding through this first half of December, right? What is that going to be for you? This is what we get during a new moon, is we get another chance. It's wonderful. It's like every day we get another chance, right? Every day is a new day, and every moon is a new moon. And we always have another chance to start again and to decide, where do we want to focus? What do we want to do with our precious life force energy and our attention? Because our attention, our focus is where energy goes, right? You've probably heard that, right? Where you focus is where the life force that you have is flowing in, right? So be really aware of this, because it's going to be highlighted at this new moon. And if you have been focusing on things that are making you anxious or angry or sad or afraid, right? Any of those things, if that's where you've been focusing, right? You're spending too much time on the news or too much time talking to people who like to create disaster scenarios, right? just notice, how does that feel in your body? Is that focus really serving you to be an empowered person in your life? Or do you want to shift your focus to something that is more enlivening, more inspiring, more uplifting? And this isn't about just denial. It's not about going into denial about what's happening in the world. Not at all. But it is about not allowing the really low vibrational things that are happening pull you in so that you go into a low vibrational state, which is what you can do when you focus on things that are really upsetting to you, right? You go into a downward spiral. So you want to pull yourself out of that. One of my friends says, oh, you're in a really bad part of town. You want to turn your car around and come on back to the light, honey. I don't know where you just went, but it was really dark and scary over there. So turn your car around, come back up the spiral, and choose to focus in ways that are really going to support you rather than undermine you. So the sun and also this new moon in the gate 9 are resting on the earth in the gate 16. Now, the gate 16 is really kind of fun. It's a little chaotic, but I really like it. And it comes off the throat. And I call it the ready, fire, aim gate. Because it's like the just do it gate. It's like, let's get it going. Let's go, right? It could be like a thing for Nike, right? It's like, just do it. And it's great because its partner is the gate 48, which is the gate of wisdom. But the fear of the 48 is the fear of not knowing enough. People with the 48 sometimes really hold themselves back because they believe that they don't know enough about something. Okay. So then its partner, right? It's electromagnetic. The gate that it connects to create a complete channel is the 16. And the 16 is like, come on, let's go. Let's do it. Like, let's not worry about it too much. Do we know enough? I don't know. We'll find out. Let's jump in and find out. So there's this kind of tension, right, between these two, but it's good because it helps to calm down that gate 16. And it helps to get the 48 moving when it needs it. So that's kind of the traditional way of thinking about the gate 16. But I love that it's been renamed Zest in quantum human design. And Zest, doesn't it just make you feel good when you think about it? It's like zest, right? It just has this like life force to it, right? It has this energy to it. And I really appreciate that. And remember also that it is about patterns and it's logical. So it's helping to bring this energy in through our kind of logical method. And it is a little bit of a tempering of the methodology, right? Which can be like, okay, we're going to do this and we're going to do this. And do we know enough? I don't know. Or when it like to be like, okay, come on, let's move it on. Let's get going. Let's see if we can, infuse this with some more life force, some more energy to get things moving rather than having them kind of stagnate if they're going too slow. Having said that, you might feel like things are slowing down a little bit because Mercury has just gone retrograde and it's going to be retrograde through the middle of December. And so while Mercury is retrograding, you might feel like things are not moving so quickly forward. And in fact, you might feel like you have some obstacles in your way. So when we have a Mercury retrograde, it's not always the best time to be starting new things, to be diving into new things, but it is a great time to be checking in on or diving back into things that you were involved with, but maybe you forgot about, or you moved away from, or you got distracted, or you had some obligations or responsibilities that pulled you away. And so when Mercury is retrograde, it can be a really good time, for example, to go back to a conversation maybe that you had with somebody that didn't go so well. Maybe you said something you wish you hadn't, or maybe they said something that you didn't like and kind of hurt you, but you never said anything, but now you don't want to really, feel comfortable around them, right? Go back and clean up communication. That's a really good thing to clean up. But it also projects, right? But anything that has to do with technology or communication is great. And to be looking at it again and be like, okay, is this something that I want to give some more attention to, that needs some healing, that needs a new perspective? Or do I need to change inside of myself so that I can see it differently? All of those things can be really good during a Mercury retrograde. Interestingly enough, Mercury started this whole cycle because the cycle is longer than just when Mercury goes retrograde. It's really when Mercury and any planet enters the gate that is going to be retrograded back into during the retrograde period as well. So Mercury entered gate 9 on November 7th and was there for about 5 days, 6 days, and is going to be retrograding back through the 9 through December. And then it's going to turn around and go back forward again through the gate 9. So Mercury is going to go through the gate 9 3 different times during this whole retrograde cycle. So now we have the sun and the moon in the gate 9. And now we're going to have Mercury also lighting up the gate 9. Not exactly at the same time, but there is a theme here, right? Where Mercury is also saying to us, right? What's the focus of your communication? What's the focus of how you're showing up and working with other people and communicating with other people and working with technology and so on? What's your focus? Is your focus where you want it to be or not? So while it's retrograde, that'll be a really good time for you to be looking at that. And I'll share that, what those dates are with you when I do the December report. But just to be looking for that for yourself, to know that there's a lot of emphasis coming through this gate right now. And so it's something that you might want to pay attention to. And I want to let you know that even though the live sessions for Aquarian Activation, which was a 3-day workshop that I did for my community last week, all the replays are available. All of the reflection journal entries are all available. And so you still can register for it. It's going to be open just through December 3rd. So that's next Tuesday. So no, if it does interest you, go ahead, register, get in there, get watching the replays, and get them before they're gone. On December 4th, we're going to move them over into the Sovereign Sisterhood, where they'll live. And then if you decide to come and be with us in the Sovereign Sisterhood, then you would always have access to them. But if not, then your access will be through this next Tuesday. Do know that you do need to become a member of our Becoming Sovereign Quantum Retreat Center in order to access the replays, because that's where everything is housed. And it's also the place where conversation is happening and people are sharing about their experience. Other people are witnessing them. And so there's a beautiful interactive dynamic conversation that's going on in there that you might also want to join in. So we'll put the link here at the end of the video, and we'll also put it at the bottom. All right, dears, I'll be back very soon with your December transit report. And I hope you have happy holidays this weekend. Many blessings. Much love. Bye for now.